Hey everybody, welcome. It's Deborah. Great to be here with you today on Facebook. I've got Natasha, one of our lead teachers, here with me today, and I'm going to talk about you for a minute, Natasha, before we get going. Let me just make sure that everybody can hear me okay. And make sure we're live on Facebook. Just looking for somebody to give me some feedback. All right, you guys can hear us and see us? Good to go? Hold on a minute, Natasha. It says we're live. You can hear me, right, Natasha?
Yes, yes, I can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, looks like we are. All right, I'll start all over again. Great to be with you guys. Love Facebook Live. This will be fun. And let's talk about Natasha, who's with us today, just a little bit. I was thinking about you earlier today, and I've known you quite a while. You've had some amazing, amazing transformations, Natasha. I know you have a corporate background. I know you've had your share of personal problems. I know you're from Russia, which is pretty exciting in its own right. Those of us who are, we're such provincial Americans here, so we're so excited by that. And I'd love to hear your story. I heard you speak on stage here a few months ago, and that's why I asked you to come today, because it was a very exciting story, and I thought you had a great deal to offer. So go ahead.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Hi, everyone. So nice to be here. I know that the question that I posed today for this show is a big question. So I just wanted to share my thoughts as I'm going through this journey with all of you. Being spiritual in today's world. What does it really mean? So to tell you a little bit about myself, I was born in the Soviet Union. I would say the least popular country right now in the world. And when I was born there and I was raised there, according to the government, God did not exist. And we were told as children that religion is not something that educated people believed into. Can you hear my cat?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay. So where I was going with this is that my background initially was not, definitely was not very encouraging in terms of exploration of my spiritual beliefs. God didn't exist, so you just didn't think about it, you didn't talk about it. There were no discussions in the family circles about it. So it was not natural for me to be on this journey. And it's very interesting where I find myself now, being an ordained minister and being in part of this energy healing community. It's been quite a journey to get where I am right now. And of course, it happened because life happened. So when I came to the United States, about 20 years ago now, I had an aversion to anything religious or anything spiritual, because that's not something that educated people did. Again, that was my foundation. And it was very difficult for me to orient myself in terms of lifestyle and how I want to do things here, because it was so different from what I was used to. One thing that I also witnessed as I was growing up was some good things, such as a lot of volunteering and community support. And as I was growing up and going to school, I remember one of my favorite memories is participating in all sorts of recycling competitions at school, visiting war veterans after school hours as part of our school outreach program. So I completely missed out on any type of religious education, but I also had very positive experiences helping others, and it stayed with me. And so when I came here, I saw a little bit of a different situation in this country as an outsider. I saw that if you wanted to help others really in a very kind of official way, it generally speaking happened within the walls of religious organizations, religious institutions. And so it was very difficult for me to reconcile that with my beliefs at the time. And so it took me a while to work around that and find my way of helping others despite the ideology that could be behind someone's organization that is helping others. And so again, kind of over the years, I've come to a conclusion that being spiritual to me is not about theology. It's really not about what I believe or do not believe. It's more about my actions and what I choose to do with my time while I'm here. One of the stories that I really like, recently, I came across a story about one of the most famous social activists in the world, Benjamin Franklin. Apparently he said this, and I quote, "Serving God is doing good to others, but praying is thought an easier service and therefore more generally chosen." And that's kind of where I felt I was, that prayer and meditation and doing things for others privately is wonderful, but is it really enough? And that's the question that has been on my mind a lot recently, considering everything that has been going on, not just in this country, but everywhere. Interestingly enough, there's a story that I'd like to share about Benjamin. I doubt that he called himself a social activist while he was alive. This is probably a term that we assign to him based on our current understanding of things. But he certainly did everything he could to help others, because that was his moral code. That was part of his lifestyle and his life philosophy. So just a small example, in 1751, a doctor, this colonial times, so he lived in Philadelphia at the time. There were no hospitals, apparently, and a doctor suggested that a hospital is built in Philadelphia. So guess who stepped up to the task? Benjamin Franklin. He combined his skill as a printer and his passion for helping others and his talent apparently for fundraising. And Philadelphia got a hospital, and that actually happens to be America's first hospital. So I think this observation, and this was 250 years ago, I think this observation that prayer and meditation might not be quite enough to make a difference that people who we all suffer, people are experiencing in our daily lives, we might have to step up to the plate a little bit more and see how we can contribute in a more tangible way. And I know that sometimes people don't want to get it to be political. That's I know that it's a concern for a lot of us spiritual people, because we tend to be on the softer side. Being out there sometimes is associated with confrontation and aggression, and people who believe exactly the opposite of what you believe. So it could be very unpleasant, but nevertheless worthwhile. So I think we are ready. If anyone has a concern about that, am I really ready to be socially active at this time? I think we as spiritual community are ready for that. And I kind of came up with a list of reasons why I think that's true. I think to be socially active, you need at least a certain level of self-awareness, which I know all of us do. Everyone on this call, I'm sure, meditates and prays and has some type of a spiritual practice going on. I do think that this social action requires a certain level of consciousness, meaning we accept that we're one with each other. We understand that our well-being depends on the well-being of others, and vice versa. I think it also requires a certain level of courage. And I do think it takes a lot of courage to be on a healing journey of any kind. And everyone on this call has had their experience dealing with that. Commitment and devotion, I do believe it's also part of a spiritual journey. So we have that. Habits, it has to be a habit. Well, meditation and prayer, spiritual practice, that's also a habit. So we have that in us as well. And I think we don't have to make it political. But I do think that at some point, whatever your social action, the choice of your social action is, I do think that at some point it will become labeled as political, just because that's how it is these days. And I think we just need to get used to it and not really focus on it too much, because, you know, if we're honest, everything has a political tint to it these days. The shows I watch, the news I listen to, the food I eat, the country I was born in, the color of my skin, everything immediately plunges me into a specific group that has a particular political preference. So, and I really don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think being the question that I had on the Facebook post, is it enough to be kind and self-aware these days, or do we need to do more and act more? Kindness can also be sometimes associated with people who are just too soft, you know, kind of being a doormat, and that's not kindness that we spiritual people know about. Kindness for us could be seeing the person for who that person is, seeing his or her dark and light, but choosing to treat them kindly nevertheless. So that's kind of how I see the kindness. And that kind of kindness takes commitment and courage, because not always it's pleasant, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And being self-awareness is not necessarily just being in yourself all the time and meditating and picking on your own wounds and you know, endlessly. I think self-awareness gives us awareness of who other people are, so we can understand them better.
That's a really good point.
And it gives us the foundation to be kind and forgiving. And again, I really don't think that being spiritual is about what I believe or what I do not believe, because I don't have to be a Buddhist to be kind to others, and I don't have to be a Christian to be forgiving. I don't have to be a Muslim to be devotional. And it doesn't really matter. I think just like Benjamin Franklin was saying, well done is better than well said. So I just wanted, again, to share my thoughts on this topic and support all of you in your thoughts on this topic. Support you if you are ready to go out into the world and do something to help others. This is what we're here for, and we're also here to support each other in that.
Well, big hand. I loved this. In fact, it's a first. I actually took a few notes because I want to swing back and discuss a few points with you. And so I'll go back to the beginning. You said you thought Russia was the most hated country. I don't think so. I think North Korea might win that award.
Yes, I thought about that too.
Close second.
Yes,
a close second. Yeah. And then I was really taken with your picking Benjamin Franklin. I had no idea that I'd never thought of him as a social activist. So I'm thinking, isn't that classic? Someone from outside the U.S. has to come tell us about our own icon. That's you know, because you're thinking outside the box. See, so yeah, that's kind of a revolutionary idea. And then you pinned it. You know, you proved why he was. I thought that was very interesting. But I thought that the hallmark, the main thrust of your presentation, and it's such an important point, and I really never thought about making it so key and so easy for people to understand, but I'm always thinking it and saying it, but not as forcefully, is that you must take action. Prayer is not enough. Okay. I'm sorry. It's not. You have to take action. You're so right. You are so right, Natasha. And I remember years ago, maybe 15 years ago, saying at some public speaking event that it was back in the day of The Secret. Remember the book, The Secret? So it was probably around 07, 10 or 11 years ago. And I remember saying that vision boards are not enough. Quit visioning what you're going to do, and please go take action. So yeah, really, really an important point. And then I loved your comment on politics, because I've been accused lately of being too political. And you're right. Everything has become political because we're so, what's that word they love to use? What are we? We're so skewed. We're so polarized.
Yeah, polarized.
We're so polarized here. Worldwide, not just in the US, but it's very well, it's worldwide. I'd say Europe is just as polarized as the US, wouldn't you? With the nationalistic tendencies.
Yes.
Of exclusionary. We won't let those ethnicities in. We won't let those refugees in. I mean, it's all very polarizing. But while you were talking about that, I was thinking, well, that's me and guns. So I've come to the opinion here in the last couple of years, I guess, that I've swung myself way off of where I was and moved way over. And now I'm in favor of dismantling the Second Amendment. So I'm way over to a side I wasn't on before. And I can't bear to see more death. I can't bear to see these children. I mean, it's heartbreaking. So, that's where our morality meets our politics, I guess. And people can think whatever they want, but you need to stand up, take action, and be heard. You know me, I'm always pushing people to take action, and like yourself. And, you've done it easily. Here you are taking action by speaking. Yeah, but what an interesting topic. And then your closing point about self-awareness. Yeah, that I just counseled a student just a week ago on self-awareness does not mean being wrapped up and looking inward all the time about why I am unhappy. Why don't I measure up? That's all self-indulgent, self-serving, self-talk. I want the self-awareness to be, as Natasha just mentioned, it's really being aware of yourself in relation to others. That's really what self-awareness means in the spiritual world. It doesn't really mean sitting all day and focusing on your own navel and, my life is not okay, and I'm lonely, or I don't have what I need, or, I'm unhappy. It's not that at all. It's being aware of your reaction on others, and I'm being of service. I'm being of service. So yeah, great content. Okay. Super profound ideas, very well expressed. As I told you, in one of our level 4 or 5 calls. And for those of us who are joining us here on Facebook, that's this pretty intimate group I have where I shepherd people from where they were to where they want to be. I told Natasha she's TEDx ready. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you ought to take this to TED. I'm not kidding. This would be a really important topic to bring to the world. You're telling people, you're giving them a chance to rethink what it means to be spiritual. And there at the end of it, they're going to think, well, shoot, she's right. I too can be spiritual. It doesn't matter if I'm not devotional or I'm not, on my knees all the time. I'm a very spiritual person because I'm spiritually active. I'm an activist spiritually. Yeah, really interesting thoughts for the year 2018 or even 2021.
Yes, and I thank you, Deborah. And I think that this being polarized, it's a very distracting thing, and so it takes us away from an opportunity to actually go and do something. So and this is part of our human nature, we tend to focus on things that are different in others than in us. And once we spot that difference, it's very difficult for us to go around it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at others, maybe we can focus on their heart rather than their mind. And when we look at people's hearts, it's so easy to relate to each other. We all have pain in our lives. We all have children, most of us. We can relate to each other at that level and focus on that. And that, to me personally, that makes helping others a lot easier, because I do know that if I just speak long enough with someone at work or at school, I will find out that they're watching a show that I would never ever watch, or they voted for the person that I do not think is acceptable, and so on. But is that really helpful? And so to me, again, I have all of those thoughts, but I choose to shift my focus on what's important, which is helping others.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something different, because I always find that when I speak to someone long enough, I find out all the similarities we have.
Yes.
That we're watching the same TV shows, and it doesn't matter that they're, you know, a member of the John Birch Society, for example, just to pick something outrageous. But we're watching the same show, or we both feel strongly about some issue, you know, that we have in common. Because I always find the more I speak to someone, the more commonality we have.
That is true. That is true. Absolutely. Yes.
Hey, we're happy to take questions, you guys. Those of you who are applause, and standing ovations over here, I'm seeing it. And who just posted this? Oh, Mindy says she says prayer without faith is wishful thinking. That's a good line, Mindy. That's a good line. Hey, I do have a question. A gal who's dropped a question in the Ask a Question column, and I'm going to go find her. It was Karen, right, with the C. Karen, I'm going to invite you on screen. You can, I think, come join us. I think the platform holds 3, so let's give it a minute and see if you can join us. And just to chat about something else for a moment, I sent a newsletter out yesterday. Is today Wednesday?
Thursday.
It might have gone out yesterday or the day before, but I want to tell everybody, you might want to check it out. You can find it over, it said to re-invite you. Okay, Karen, let me ask you again. It's about the foods of the 7 chakras. You might find it pretty interesting. If you didn't get the newsletter, you can just come to my website and click on the blog, the one with all the beautiful food, okay? And you can pick it up there. But I would urge you to, hey, try it again here, Karen, and see if you can jump up here. Accepted and connecting. Here she comes. Hi, Karen.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Hi.
Meet Natasha. This is Karen.
Nice to meet you, Karen.
Hey, Karen, what city are you in?
Corvallis, Oregon.
Okay. Well, tell us what's up.
So I love talking with you, by the way. Last time when I asked about what guidance I should be getting, you said I'm in training. And so the best thing that I've just been doing is meditating as much as I can. And then, of course, since it's the only thing I'm doing, I'm getting nervous about it. And I'm like, am I doing it right? And so when I meditate with the sutras, because I took your Be a Modern Mastering course, I tend to like move counterclockwise.
That's normal.
Okay. And then sometimes it's like when I'm doing the sutras, especially, it feels like my thymus is like.
That's very normal.
Okay.
That's actually very desirable.
Okay.
Very desirable. But let me ask you a couple questions. How much time are you spending outdoors?
Not a ton. We just went to Sun River for a few days, but I just
want to be sure you're getting enough outdoor time to balance the indoor meditation.
Okay.
You feel a little, of course it is March, you feel a little deficient in like vibrant sunshine in your Oregon too.
Yeah.
Not the sunniest place. Yeah, I'd like to see you pick up some good outdoor energy.
Okay.
Don't discount its importance to you. You're very grounded, but I'd still like you to have a little more, I don't know, fresh air, sunshine vibe.
Okay.
But yeah, your meditation feels excellent.
Okay. Because that was the other concern. I had missed meditating for about 5 days, and it was,
Oh yeah,
I was
that'll make
getting
you
pretty
feel
anxious.
very anxious and whacked out. You can't, once you've got that synergy between your nervous system and your body and your mind from a meditation practice, even just a couple months in, you can't like skip.
Okay.
Because your nervous system will be going, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It'll feel very uncomfortable.
Okay.
And you'll
And
start
there's
to
no,
get kind of jittery.
right. But there's no like atrophy that could happen with the thymus or anything. Cause that was another concern. Like,
I'm sorry, you know what?
no, like atrophy, like you're, okay.
No.
All right.
No, but you know, if you know, like when you're moving or you have a child that's sick or you're busy or something, you would want to still meditate 20 minutes at least once a day to keep your nervous system from going on hyper alert and saying, where is it? Because it becomes very accustomed to it and wants it to in order to integrate itself and feel relaxed and balanced and safe and secure.
Okay.
And you won't remember that before you meditated, you probably felt kind of anxious all the time. Most people do, you know. They just don't know that. It's their normal. And so then once they've meditated for a few months, they get this new norm of feeling like, oh, I've forgotten. I still remember I'd meditated maybe 14 days. And my husband was frankly dying in a hospital at the time from a terrible accident we'd had. And I remember coming out of the front door to go to the hospital that morning, and I went, well, where'd those flowers come from? And I had no idea. I personally had planted them the year before, but I saw them. I actually saw them because I was relaxed enough to see them.
Okay.
So it does amazing things for us. It really does. Meditation, there's just no way, no other secret quite like it.
It's beautiful. And actually, I'm trying to introduce it to my son who's 17. And there's a class called like neuro meditation. And I don't know about mixing meditations because I would do the class with him. I would just want to stick with yours. Okay.
Yeah, and don't suggest it to your son unless it's his idea.
Okay.
He may not think it's a cool idea when it comes from mom.
Right.
Yeah, I'd let him find it on his own.
So it's better not to do multiple types of meditation.
Oh no, that's a terrible idea.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that will confuse your nervous system. It's okay to do meditative-like things. Like I teach a number of things that are meditative-like. For example, I teach of course, right now I can't think the name of it. Natasha might know the name of it right offhand. It's I'm drawing a complete blank on it here. It's Chinese. So I teach some meditative-like exercises, but I would never teach you how to meditate. And I mean, it's okay. Guided meditations are okay. That's not real meditation. That's very relaxing. And you're hearing a voice that is planting suggestions in your mind. That's not meditation, but it's very relaxing. But yeah, no, you don't want to mix your meditations.
That is really good to know.
Keep it pure.
Okay.
Well, great talking with you, and just keep up the good work.
Yes, and I love these conversations you're having.
Yeah,
Natasha, you're fabulous.
And our student Nancy Neff has reminded me it's the microcosmic orbit I was trying to think of. And Kathy Hetward is reminding me it's Ho'oponopono, the other one. So Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian guided meditation, and microcosmic orbit it can be guided. I guide people through it, but it's also self-guided. So I do teach some practices that are fun and adjunctive, but I would never use them as a replacement for that 20 minutes of mantra-based meditation. That's the key. That's the one you can't skip ever. Even if you have to, you overslept and you go to work and you run out to the car during your lunch hour, you get that 20 minutes in while you're sitting in the car in the parking garage. You just never skip it, or your body will start to be unhappy about 2 p.m.
Yeah. I was feeling it.
Yeah.
Whew. So great.
All right. Very good. Very nice to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thank you.
Take care. All right. So you guys, great being with you today. Just a quick couple things here before we part. I hope you're enjoying my senior teachers that I'm letting you hear their wisdom, because they've got some great things to tell us, don't they? And again, check out my blog that's posted on my website that's about foods and the chakras. I think you might find that pretty interesting. And then don't forget, I'm going to be at the New Living Expo at the end of April. That's outside of in the San Mateo Convention Center. All right. Big thanks again to Natasha. Great seeing you here. And I'm sure I'll see you soon. You take care. Bye, you guys.